Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Writing to Write, where I used to give questionable writing advice through writing metaphors, but have since switched over to hosting these productivity sprints as work on finishing my fourth manuscript and will, I don't know, in the next 6 months, start working on my fifth manuscript. Hey, Richard, how's it going? Glad to see you. Glad to hang out with you tonight, and you'll be actioning some stuff for your upcoming post-apocalyptic edit submission tonight. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And let me, do I have, speak about Richard. Let's try this again. Hey, as of April 25th. Oh, that's going to look ugly. Let me see if I can fix that. Hey, what's up, Devin? Thank you for joining in. And yeah, let me fix that. Is that a real thing? Yeah, there we go. All right, only took me 2 tries. There you go. Richard May book. And it came out, I don't know, what's the 27th? Came out over the weekend. So Saturday, I guess, because math. Maybe Sunday if you're in the UK. But it is, among other things, a fictional story. I'm trying not to give any spoilers about how the Windows 2000 background image was taken. So it's a fun little thing. There is some intrigue. There is some feel almost like Rat Race type channeling. If anybody remembers Rat Race, I'm sure it's a remake of something, but the one with Whoopi Goldberg, Mr. Bean, and a whole bunch of other people. I know Mr. Bean's not his real name. I barely remember it, but it was a cross-country race to get to $1 million. It's got some moments that feel very similar to that too. Oh, did you make a Rat Race comparison in Instagram? I'll check it out as we go into productivity sprints. If I have, yeah, I have Instagram on this computer. That's really stupid to say. I have my various accounts in various levels of isolated so that things are difficult for me to access if I'm not on a specific machine. In theory, it is a way to keep things convenient. Anyways, this is a fun week. On Friday, or because I'm busy on Friday, Thursday, I'm going to be sending off my manuscript for the second round of professional editing. So this week, I'm going to be doing my normal stuff for productivity sprints. I'm going to be working through the various chapters. And I guess on Wednesday, I will export everything, bundle it all up, and prep it to send. So today, let's see. Last week, I think I had just started off an iteration of the book. So I was starting off in chapter 1 or thereabouts. And I made a couple of setting-based changes about where some of the characters go. And so I spent the last week and a lot of the weekend working on those 10 chapters, just making sure that the colors of the ground match and are consistent across everything. The colors of various physical structures is all consistent because I decided to change it since a lot of the colors were kind of very red, very orange, even though they were in completely different locations. I wanted to make them much more unique. So I normalized everything, and rather than start over again and sort of work my way forward, I'm going to skip all the way to the end, which I think needs a little bit more reviews. So I'm going to be working on chapter 37, chapter 38, and we'll see how that goes. That is a loose plan for me for tonight. But do give a shout out on what you all are working on in the comments. Before we go, let me check out really quickly. I'm going to look at Richard Holiday's thing because now you piqued my interest. I don't know which update you wanted me to look at. There's the looks like there's some cover reveals, but I don't see anything too pressing there. Anyways, let's see here. Ooh. Devin, you're working on the climax of your first book, Dagger, and your goal is 4,000 words today. You're 2,000 in. Nice. All right. Well, in honor of that, let's get started. So 30 minutes on the clock, and let's try and work on achieving those goals. And I will see you all in 30 minutes. Going on mute. And welcome back. That was the first sprint. Hopefully you all did everything you wanted in the productivity sprint. I finished off chapter 37, so I'm going to work on chapter 38. And I normalized a few minor details in earlier chapters because I'm trying to vary specific synonyms. I don't want to lean too heavily on my crutch words. ST Houston, thank you for joining in. And yes, please do hit those like buttons. Miss Page, hello, hello. Glad you are here and glad you're working on your newsletter, which is pretty cool. So yeah, if you got a link or a sign up for anything for that, feel free to post it in the comment section. Let's see here. Richard, you've done 105 pages of tidying, which is awesome. It's minor corrections on a book print you reread somewhat recently. So it's a book that's already out and you are tuning up the published instance. Mainly hunting improperly formatted M dashes. Well, be careful about M dashes because I've read that is one of the ways that AI is training to read or to determine that a book is written by AI, which is really a dumb thing to say, but it amounts to M dashes can be an indicator of AI, of a story that's written by AI, even though I know that if it's the book I'm thinking of, it came out well before that would have been a common issue or even a rare one. But, and also it doesn't translate well between American English and UK English because, there are a lot of differences, and I think UK English is a lot more proper, so there will be a lot more instances of M dashes. I don't know. That sounds about right. And yeah, so it is the thaw. Perfect. So the thaw came out well before AI was readily available in any source. There's now an AI that will take your work and add typos into it because right now people are seeing typos as being human. Well, yeah, I still won't go that far. I finished a indie book that I picked up at a conference, and my thought was that it definitely needed better beta readers and better formatting in general because there were a lot of grammar mistakes, but also it could have used a developmental editor among other editors. It was a bit rough. I think I rated it as 3 stars, but I really kind of wanted to rate it lower. I don't know. I gave it some extra points because I'm always sympathetic towards other indie authors. But yeah, there were enough. I feel so the book was exactly 500 pages, and so I feel like the author had just gone through and taken out random words to try and fit it to that 500 page limit. So there were a lot of instances where there were missing that's, and I know that that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there were definitely like sentences where I would read it and be like, there's a word missing here. There are multiple words missing here. Or there is, this is the wrong version of there. This is like all these other things. And so, yeah, I recognize that it was a typo, but every time I came across one, I'm like, fine, one, whatever. It's 500 pages. There's going to be a handful. But when there were issues throughout the book, it does kind of bring it way down. Also, it was really weird. So it would take place. The story took place in a different, like an alternative history world that had basically just been up to where we currently are, except there were a few changes. And there were a couple of instances where like the book was chock full of references. So it would be like, Star Wars was actually a terrible example in there because he got Star Wars wrong. But there would be what's another example? Oh, so one of my favorite books is the Midkemia series. And so what he would do is he would like change one of the words, or I mean, I don't care if I say it or not. There was a Harry Potter reference, but he changed it to being the Larry like Rotter or Larry Lotter or something weird like that, where he, it was obvious what the reference was, And so he just changed like one of the letters in the word in each one of the letters in each word. So H became L, and then um Potter, I don't know what he did with the T's. But then there were other instances where it was the exact same thing, like Star Wars, but instead it was they only made Star Wars A New Hope. But the reference was dumb because it's like, oh, it was weird that the first movie started off with episode 4, even though they didn't make any sequels. But the problem with that reference is that in reality, episode 4 wasn't episode 4 until years later when episode 5 was in the making. And so even in an alternative world, the whole reason why episode 4 became episode 4 was because it was kind of a way to lead into Empire Strikes Back, which was episode 5. And in this alternative world, Star Wars just became like a random cult classic that didn't really do good in theaters, so there would be no reason for it to be episode 4. Anyways, all the logic in that in that book just sort of fell through under the slightest bit of scrutiny. So all that was just to say a big thing of I'm not going to intentionally add in mistakes. But that was a giant tangent. Let's see here. Nice. So Devin is progressing very well to your 4K. Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be terrible to say. Like, I don't. The books in my TBR, I would be highly suspect if they were AI generated. I think the most recent one that is in my TBR is the new Dresden Files that came out this year. And because of that timeline, there is obviously like it's more modern. So there's a possibility that there is a AI used to generate it. I'm 100% certain that Jim Butcher did not use any AI at all. Or if he did, it was only in like plain stages. Again, I have no insight to this, whatever. But I'm willing to assume that an accredited author like that did not use it. And that means that my only possible source of reading AI generated content is if I go to a conference and likewise pick up another book from just a random author. And honestly, if they, use AI to generate it, there's no way that I would ever really know because I'm never going to scan in a book and then run it through some AI algorithm to tell me whether or not it was written with AI. Yeah, I've done that one a few times, and ProWriting Aid does help me out a lot. One of mine issues is also when I like change quotations or do some weird copy paste thing, it'll miss either the starting or ending double quote. And so ProWriting Aid is fantastic at finding that because I would never be able to figure out those. Yeah, I don't. I think that book was written last year, and for better or worse, I mean, Harry Potter is groundbreaking, even if there are a lot of issues surrounding its author. Yes, the point is that the Thaw came out well before AI was popular, so that is not a risk for it. Yeah, and honestly, oh boy, how to put this? That author's personality 100%. Well, that author's personality and the name sold me on it. Because he was just such like this outgoing, extroverted person. It was just like he was just so excited to be there, and I it was at MagFest, so I'm not going there to pick up books. I'm going there to hang out and play video games. And as I was going back and forth between the Super Smash Brothers, the N64 quarter, across 3 hallways to Killer Queen. That's what I was basically doing. I was just play Super Smash Brothers until I got bored or until the group I was playing with left, and then I would go over to Killer Queen and see if there was a short line there. And then if I got bored of that, I would just double back. So as I was going back and forth, I would go through the artist alley and just find some interesting things. And I think there's only ever like 1 or 2 indie authors at MagFest at any given time. So when they are there, when I do see them, I try and pick up their books or whatever. In fact, I have one. I think I have a book over here from now 2 MagFests ago, which would be about a year and a half. And I mean, I bought the book to support them. I don't know how quickly I'll get to it. Anyways, yeah, exactly. Um, I mean, I still cherish my hardcover copies of Harry Potter. They're in the attic, under a bed. They're somewhere in this house. I know they're under the guest bed because I want to keep them in the attic because the attic can get humid and whatnot. So, um, or maybe they're no, they aren't. I don't know. I don't think they're on the bookshelf behind me. They would be under a bed somewhere. Anyways, I have gone on way too long. So let's get on to 20-minute sprint. And then I'm probably just going to flow right into the last 20-minute sprint because we are running well behind time. But it was good to catch up with all of you. It was good to hang out and do all the fun things. You can tell it's a Monday, and my Monday has been very not stressful, but just kind of there because I am quite talkative at the moment. But with that in mind, I'm going to get started on chapter 38, which is a shorter one. So I might be able to get into chapter 39. And then for no apparent reason, hop back to chapter 36 and see how things go. But let's get writing for sprint number 2. Welcome back. I hope your second sprint went well. And yeah, I appreciate you all in the mood for a little chatty Ben. But it is getting later, so I think I'm basically just going to roll right into the third and final sprint. I say that as I'm going to do kind of a little outro. Let's see. So next Monday is a usual night. Same time, same 6 p.m. Eastern time. But between now and then, like I said, I will have sent my manuscript to a copy editor, which means that this book it's starting to be really finalized now, which is fantastic. And let's see here. Shannon, you just read a book. Awesome. Hey, everything is productive. You could be making dinner, you could be working out, you could be, doing whatever. I happen to be writing as I get ready for dinner, but yeah, it does need well, the title I'm working with is right now Chasing the Beacon, and the cover I'll get to eventually. I have a rough draft for it. I'm not in any hurry to push forward, although I probably should get that in the queue. This book will get done when it gets done. And with that in mind, let's get started on the third and final sprint, as it's already 7:10. So I will see you all on the other side of 20 minutes. And welcome back. That was the third and final sprint. So thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight, for hanging out, for chatting away. I hope you all had some very productive sprints. It's a Monday night. So again, the week can only get better from here. And yeah, by the next time we have productivity sprints here, I will have sent away my manuscript for copy edits. Whew. Huh. Nice. You call yourself info dumping your newsletter, fix it and done. Thanks for space and sprints. To be fair, there's nothing wrong with info dumping in newsletter. It's when it's info dumping in books that it becomes a problem. But yeah, I mean, make your newsletters as to the point as you want. It's your newsletter, so do whatever you like. And with that, I will see you all next Monday night. And I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful week. Take care.